Welcome to Connected Conversations. I'm really grateful that you're here and sharing your time. If you like the conversation that you hear, please like it and share. I'm Emma from Unique Phoenix. I'm a soul coach, energy healer, well-being guide, and an unapologetic, curious soul. Connected Conversations is here to bring love, healing, and connection to our everyday lives through open and authentic conversations. Every single conversation, I'm privileged to interview women and men in our communities that are here being their authentic selves, sharing their unique talents with the world around them. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we can get to know them and what they offer much better.
Hi everyone, Matteo.
Renata here.
And I am very excited to be here with you, Emma, because what we want to share with you today is a little bit more about what we do. We are working closely with experts and coaches and people who want to really combine their knowledge and expertise in an online program. So anybody that is really good in what they do, really expert in their area of focus, but they want to compile everything in a program that they can take really internationally, serve a lot more people and really make an impact. That's what we do.
But most importantly, Emma, stop trading their time for money.
Yes.
And doing this one-on-one thing that I think that give people a job. At the end of the day, you start your coaching business to get out of a job and you make a job to yourself, right? So how can we
help get stuck them? Again.
Yes, how can we help them to have more time for themselves, for their families as well, and and create a huge impact.
That's the worst voice ever. No. Wait a minute. Why isn't that going away? There we go. Got it. All right. Whenever you're ready, guys.
Yep.
You start.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were going to do the first. Sorry. Hi everyone, Matteo.
Renata here.
And I am very excited to be here with you, Emma, because what we want to share with you today is a little bit more about what we do. We are working closely with experts and coaches and people who want to really combine their knowledge and expertise in an online program. So anybody that is really good in what they do, really expert in their area of focus, but they want to compile everything in a program that they can take really internationally, serve a lot more people and really make an impagive what we do.
But most importantly, Emma, stop trading their time for money.
Yes.
And doing this one-on-one thing that I think that give people a job. At the end of the day, you start your coaching business to get out of a job and you make a job to yourself, right? So how can we help
get stuck
them?
Again.
Yes, how can we help them to have more time for themselves, for their families as well, and and create a huge impact.
Beautiful. All right, let's go. Done. That's recording. Yes, making sure. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. I loved it. I love that was really authentic and casual, and so people know that they're not, because particularly business coaches, I've worked with a few over the years, and I'll be honest, I don't do well with them because I don't like doing as I'm told, and because my work is particularly unique in the world, there's no one else doing what I do in the way that I do it. So it's really hard for someone to go, do it like this person. I can't. But I love that. I love because it shows that you're unique and it shows how people can connect with you. So that's beautiful. All right. So same again. We're just going to smile like little Cheshire cats looking like dickheads. However, and then I'll introduce and then we'll get into the interview. Yeah. Beautiful. Welcome to Connected Conversations. These are here to bring healing, love, and connection to our everyday lives through open and authentic conversations. I am joined today by Renata and Matteo from Mindbug, the Mindbug. Let's get that right. And this is a coaching business for them. And I'm not going to even share what they do because I love what they do. But they do help coaches and experts rise into their full business potential and allow them to grow with a signature program. And that's through the Experts Accelerator as well. Now, I've also had the honor of sharing some time with both of you, and I love the generosity of your energy, and which I'm really excited to share with you guys today, watching and listening through the podcast and YouTube. So welcome, and thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to get to know you more and get to know what you do as well. So I want to actually get some background info because I want to know, because I've gone over and read it and gone, wow, like that's so diverse where you've come from to end up down this path together. So Renata, can I start with you? What's your background?
Absolutely. First of all, Emma, thank you very much for the introduction. That was amazing.
Thank you for having us. It's exciting.
Yeah, thank you for having us here. We are very excited to be here talking to you and sharing with your audience
Our story
and all we can do to add them value so we can help them also in their journeys, right?
And we like to laugh, so we like to make a few giggles in and there.
Yeah, it's important. I think smile bring us this positivity. Positivity creates possibilities, and then we can keep going with that.
Amen, sister. Yeah.
Yep. So Emma, I am originally from Brazil. I moved to Australia 9 years ago, 2013. And my background is actually in journalism, in sports journalism. And what I love about journalism is the investigation part of the human being, right? And what I always loved about sport journalism is the fact that behind the results, there is always a story, right? So every time somebody was winning or losing a race, I was always investigating, wanting to understand the person as a human being, right? Like what led you to this victory? What were the things that stopped you from winning, right? And understanding more and more about the person, right? So as I would say progressed through life and different opportunities started to appear in front of me, and I moved to Australia. Here in Australia, I started to work a lot with marketing and sales and cycling, which is a sport that I'm very passionate about. Both myself and Matteo, very passionate about cycling. We are cyclists ourselves. And, this actually comes back over and over and over. It's like whatever role you are working on, especially if it's a role where you have to be offering somebody something, right? So in my perception, when you're selling something, you're just exchanging value, right? So it's a different mindset, a different approach for when you are trying to help somebody with something that you have, right? You can have the mindset of being, sales is terrible, it's something diabolic, I hate to do it, or think on the way of I'm having something that can help somebody else to bridge the gap and be where they want, right? But going back into this, understanding the person, like the human, what is unique to you? What do you have, Emma, that nobody else has? And that we can take this out of you and make it for service for, many more people out there, because I bet that there is a lot of people waiting for your success so you can help them to achieve theirs, So I think that, through my journey I have this background in journalism, but actually it just taught me how important it is to understand humans as humans. Right? And that behind everything, every achievement, every defeat, everything, there is a story and something that is inspiring and powerful, and that can help other people to, achieve similar results, better results, or just encourage them to take a first step towards anything they want.
I love that. What a unique path, though. I mean, I'd be super curious to find out what you think of current journalism today, because that's a minefield conversation, and I get that. But
Emma, look, I think that one of the reasons why I chose the sports other than any other type of journalism, is because sports is still like undeniable evidence of something, right? So for example, a person wins a race, or there is a team that wins a tournament, it's there, it's obvious. It's not opinions, it's not perceptions, it's not I think he thinks. It is a obvious evidence that somebody was the best on that day and they won that thing, right? When we are to talk about economics, politics, even history, or all of these other things, you go in the realm of having different perspectives of different people with different exposures, different backgrounds, and then there is the mess. So what happens these days, in my perception, again, is my perception in the media, is because there is a lot of, there is a lot of politics, there is a lot of money involved, corruption, people, and it's a realm that I really honestly don't like to go through. I actually don't even turn my TV on.
And we have a rule at home where TV is off.
TV is off. I am passionate about sport, and I think that the sport is, as I said before, is that one thing that is a result, is a pure evidence of I was the best on that day, and I was the best from everybody else, and I won the race, and then learning the story behind that, right? Where if I have to talk about two different politics sides, the left and the right, is a perception and a perception, right? Which then you go into a mess of, then we need to do a new podcast just to talk about it.
Oh, look, it is a minefield, but thank you for that. I do. Look, I tend to agree with you. I think there's only probably a couple of areas of any kind of journalism where, and you know what, that's actually probably the only one in sport, because it really is a very defined outcome. But medical science, I think any area, they've just really blurred the lines between reality and what's not real. But that's also something that you can do in business as well. You can blur the lines between what your vision is and also what's currently happening in your business, to, and like when you blur that line, makes it really hard to move forward. But I love that. I love that it's about getting to know the person. I love that it's about connection and finding out what's unique about them. It's something that I do in my business. I get to see people's truth and bring it out in them. So that's really beautiful to shine that light in there. But yeah, I love that. I'm all for unique. Well, my business name is Unique Phoenix, so clearly I am. Matteo, what about you? Because you've got a pretty varied background as well.
Yeah. Funny enough, in sport as well.
So, hang on, is your background in cycling? Is that right? Because I thought I saw photos of that.
My background is triathlon. Okay, so swim, bike, and run. And actually,
holy moly, that's a whole different level of commitment.
And when I was thinking about that the other day, actually, when I was born in Italy, so about 10 hours away from Renata in Rio de Janeiro. Born in Italy, close to Venice, small town, only 17,000 people in my town. We took Renata there 2 years ago. She couldn't believe how small the place is. And as a kid, I was always the kid, kind of a Forrest Gump in town, the one that is always running. So I became this personality in my town where, anybody that was thinking about someone that was doing sport was myself, right? And I had always this dream to be an Olympic medal, and I was always as a child, always had this dream, this drive and this passion for sport. So my parents, Emma, they took me racing every single weekend. Every single week I was competing and racing. So that was my life. And school, quite honestly, was just like a side hustle for me. I wasn't interested in that. I was just good enough to pass the year. And so most of my life was triathlon and traveling all over Europe. And eventually you get to a point where you kind of had to make a choice and say, well, is this something that is going to be my future, or do I really want to try something else? And that's when, for me, the idea to travel to Australia, learn the language, discover a new place, became. And Renato's just said before, 9 years since you came here. I just take 10 years. Can't believe how fast time goes. It just flies. And about 4 years ago, no, it would have been 5 years ago, we were both bike riding we stopped in a gas station that we always stop on the way back home, and that's how we met, in a gas station, bike riding and cycling.
Whoa! All right, I want to hear this one. Right, I'm diving into that because when I first met you guys, because I didn't know about your connection, but I finished thinking there's more than a business connection going on there, right? Like I just energetically, you feel that the connection between you guys. Yep. So, but I don't like to say anything because I have done that once before, and it got embarrassing because I said it. Those two didn't know that they actually both liked each other. Went off and didn't speak to me for a while because it was a bit embarrassing. But I think they're still together now, which was hilarious. But it has happened, so I'm aware of it now, not to say anything. Okay, hang on. You walk into a gas station. Talk me through this, because I go into gas stations all the time. I'm not meeting anyone.
You never know what can happen.
It was actually.
You need to be open for.
It's actually nearly the anniversary because it was late March.
Yeah.
Late March, yeah. So we're coming very close to the anniversary. So we both did a very long ride that day. It was 170 Ks, and about 30 Ks to get home. There is this gas station. Every single cyclist stops. And Renata, she was riding with 3 friends. I have my group with about 7 or 8 guys. And usually cyclists, they stick in the group. They don't really go around and talk to people. And when I saw Renata and the other two friends, I don't know, was sick of spending the day with boys, and I decided to go and have a chat. And she was there having her sunscreen, passing the sunscreen, just like you can imagine, like the typical picture that you remember, the girl passing the sunscreen.
I was just putting on my arms. There was nothing more than that.
Yeah, but that's not what happens in the other person's mind. Like when the other person goes, damn, she's good looking, right? Like attraction. Whatever you're doing becomes a little bit different than what you're actually doing.
No, I was just putting sunscreen on my arms. That's all I was doing.
I remember walking there and, super kind. They said, where are you going? Or I don't know, but just open conversation. And the 2 other girls didn't have a chance to say anything. That she jumped off straight away and said, "You're not Australian, aren't you?" How do you know that I'm not Australian? How would you ever know?
With his accent?
With his accent. And a massive Italian flag on my sleeve with the flag of Italy. And so we started having a chat, and then of course they took off first. And after about 5 minutes, my bunch also started. And as you can imagine, on the way home, we got them, and I said, jump on the back, jump on the draft so we can ride together. And long story short, about 10 minutes in, her 2 friends disappeared. They just dropped, and she was the only one left there. And my friends started riding faster and faster and faster. So 45, 46, 47, 48, 49 km an hour, which is very fast for a, for a woman that is not racing, right? And I said, you're still here. You're not struggling. You must be talented.
Yeah.
So then after all that pain, Emma,
you were like, I'm in.
So after all that pain, we stopped. I needed to wait for my friends, and then we exchanged our phone numbers. And then from there, it's just a story. And now we are here. We ride together, we do business together, and we are partners as well. And I think that the biggest question from also people, how can you do all these together, right?
Yeah, a lot of our friends say, you don't get sick of spending all this time together. You get together in the morning. And I think is a process that you learn as well. Like one of the things that we're the most really strong about is working as a couple. And a lot of people really struggle with that because someone wants to, the partner wants to do an online business, the other one wants to do a career. And if you don't have a vision that is aligned with similar values, you are clashing there. So many people online, they are really finding this alignment, and, just a matter of time. It's like, where are we going here? And took us a good amount of time because at the beginning it wasn't easy working together. It's a process that you need to learn and need to be patient. And sometimes I fuck it up, sometimes she fucks it up. But
that's life, man.
Life.
In and out of a relationship. That's life.
And I think the beauty is just learning to navigate through the process and really learning to work together, leveraging each other's strengths. So I'm more into sales and marketing. She's more in product design. Really, community manager, and really, she's the energy. She's the mitochondria, the energy, power energy. I'm more about, you know, sales, marketing, numbers, finance, and all that kind of stuff, because my background is in finance. Her background is more in journalism, stories, engaging people. And so we found a good balance where we really leverage each other's skills, and it's really fun.
I really love that. And you can pick up, and probably just because it's me and this is what I do anyway in life, but I do love that you both sit in your masculine and feminine really beautifully, and you honor each other with that. Like the way that you're talking about the skill set that you use, you're just allowing each of you to show up as you need to and who you are, which is just really beautiful. But you're right. In any relationship, there needs to be a compass, like a point that you come back to, that you have that commonality, that goal, whatever it is. And absolutely, and whatever that is, whether it's a physical thing, whether it's a business thing, whether it's whatever it is, there needs to be that, way to come back. But that's like anything. You work with, I'm going completely off my little train of like questions here, I'm going to go with it. But when you're working with businesses, that's probably fairly similar as well, because you have to get them to, why the fuck are you doing this? Yeah. Like, why is it so important to you? Because if you don't have that, I know being in business, if I don't have that, I'm not going to go through the hard times. Yeah. So how do you bring a business to that, like someone who's in business, and bring them to that why?
I think it's very important. This is one of the mistakes that I made at the beginning. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs, particularly in coaching, online business, they do at the beginning. They are focused so much on their own goals, on their own aspirations, or the money that they want to make, and they forget to put priority on what is important, which is solving a problem for someone else. And I'm so guilty that, the first year and a half in business, that was my selfishness was there. And it took a good amount of time and work and talking within each other to really understand, hey, unless you're really focusing on the right thing, you're never gonna be able to make this business take off. You're never gonna endure during these times. And funnily enough, working as a couple works very well, because when she's having a hard day, I'm good, and when I'm having a bad day, she's good. So we're actually constantly supporting each other and talking through things. And it's fascinating how it's always one or the other, and we can really bounce. And I would say the first 18, 20 months in business was the hardest one. Yeah. Like when you really struggle to overcome the challenges, and you get stuck into this rabbit hole, and you get really like frustrated. You want to throw everything on the sky.
I think there is a word, Emma, that we use a lot. I think a lot of people use this word a lot. Is fulfillment, right? Like I don't want to work with this because I don't feel fulfilled. And I think that's we keep in this chase of fulfillment. So, okay, so what is going to fulfill me? What I'm going to do that's going to fill that hole, right? So I think that as Matteo said, and I also am part of that, in the beginning, you are just so focused into you that, you, especially when you are serving somebody else, it's about the other person and how can you use your skills to help that person to achieve something that you already manage yourself, right? So you're in a perfect position to help. And this word keeps coming back to my head, fulfillment, until I said, what does fulfillment means in first place? Sometimes we just don't ask these questions, just don't ask like obvious questions, because we think like we already know them, and we don't. So when I figured out that fulfillment is when I can effectively help somebody to achieve something that I already achieve, I already have the skills, and I start to see this person progressing and evolving, and I create an impact in another person. This is what fulfills, right? When you see, wow, look what I just helped Emma doing, and look where she is right now, and how you are progressing in your life, and even in your business, and in your relationships, or whatever you're doing, right? So I think that when we flicked into that, which I think we in the past, we've been watching videos and listening to podcasts of people talking about it, and say, when I flicked, it's like a Monday to Tuesday thing, but it's not. It's a process for you to understand really, when you see the other person on the other side that you are helping and serving, saying to you, Emma, thank you for what you've done for me. You changed my life. You gave me ideas. It's not necessarily sometimes something that you're doing straightforward. You are just allowing the person to spark their imagination, to become more creative, to have money making ideas, to change something in their business, which with your input changes everything, right? So when you started to do this over and over and over, you said, this is pretty cool, because you not just see the results for yourself, but you see that you can actually make an impact. And it's what we call the positive impact, right? We are now have this conversation. Somebody's listening to this. They're going to grab some ideas. They're going to spark that into something else. And then this is going to be able to spark to somebody else, which didn't meet Renata, Matteo, and Emma. But that person that listen to this podcast, and then things starts to
kind of a pay forward.
It's kind of a pay forward kind of thing, right? And I think that since I think the pandemic, that we started to see how it's necessary to collaborate, really, to have that within us, right? And yeah, so. And I think
when it comes down to, why is this working? Why you're doing this is really getting clear on, is this something fulfilling you? Because if it's not, you're not gonna endure. Because believe me, it's gonna be a roller coaster. Even if you have the entire recipe from the master that has done it before, it gives you the precise recipe of how much and the temperature and the quantity, you're gonna fuck it up.
100%.
For sure, 100%. And if you don't have a really deep why and a real fulfillment coming out of this, you're not gonna endure. You're not gonna endure. So it's very important to get clear on that. And that's why in our program, we spend an entire week really
in the why,
in helping people to get clarity around this, because once you get clarity, that becomes your North Star. Striving towards that. And when it's the time to make difficult decisions, you know what to do, you know what decision to take, because that's where you want to go.
Yeah. And Emma, just to wrap this up, I think that a lot of people take this why thing for granted. Like, this is bullshit. Why do I need to know my why? I just want to earn money, pay my rent, and travel on holidays, But when something is broken and it's not working, it always go back into the step number one, which is, okay, why the hell you're doing this?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is something that I think that people don't consider. It's like when, they come to you and say, I just want more clients. I just want to make sales. Okay. Before making a sale, we need to go back into the step number one. I'm sorry, but we need to start from the bottom of the mountain.
We actually have a process called the 7-level deep, which is really asking you the why 7 times. And you start always with a superficial reason. And then by the time you get to level 7, you go to really, is it your family, your kids, because you want to give back to your parents. It's fascinating to see when people do this exercise and they send it to us in our system, in our Trello, to see their deep why is fascinating.
The first one, Emma, is always why? Because I want to make money. Then when it was for the second time is I want to make money to pay something. After the third why, they can't associate with money anymore. And then when you go to the last one, you realize that they want to do this because they want to help the mother that helped them when they were a kid and gave them all the opportunities. So then if they have a successful business, they're going to be showing up as a very successful son or so then you understand the real reason, right? So usually people attach the first to money, and the last one is actually the real reason why you're doing this in the first place. And that's what's going to move you.
I did this process. I did that a few years ago. And when I got to the end, I was like, fuck.
Yeah. I know,
and I'm pretty deep anyway, just doing what I do. I go deep first of all. And when I got to the end, I was like, damn, that was interesting to get to that. But again, it becomes your true north, it becomes that marker that you just are able to keep coming into. But look, I love that take on it about fulfillment and understanding what fulfills you, because, in the work I do, I talk about needs. And when I first work with a client, it's about emotional needs and understanding what their emotions are and the need of that emotion. And that's pretty mind-blowing for most people when they uncover their emotional code. But I love that, because that leads me to my next question. Obviously, you weren't fulfilled in the areas that you were working in. So what was that moment? Like, for the both of you that went, fuck it, let's just start a business and do this?
That was the cause of everything, wasn't I?
Matteo was the cause of everything.
Matteo was the cause of everything.
You know what Matteo did? Matteo created the awareness that working, trading your time for money just for a salary and a job was bullshit. Right? So he created this awareness. Like you kind of start everything like a zombie just because everybody else is doing. So what's next after you graduate from university is to find a job. And what's next is to get a career progression. And what's next? It's to get the best career in wherever you are, get a salary, buy a house, get married, buy a car, have kids, you know, so you kind of go in this zombie state. And there is a break if you start to work on the questions. Why am I doing this? Why this is important to me? Why should I be doing this in first place?
And also, would I be fulfilled in 5 years from now if I was still doing this? That's a really interesting question.
Or the other question is like, do I have other options? What are the options then? You know, and then when you ask these questions, you actually open a whole world of a universe of options of what you can do, that you're going to be safe. You have your roof in your head, you have your bed to sleep, you have food in the fridge, you can do everything, and you're going to be doing something beautiful that creates an impact instead of being there in the treadmill, right? Running and chasing, wishing that tomorrow is going to be different, but it's just the same, right? So, yeah.
So yeah, for us, Emma, I was working in financial planning. It took me about 5 years to go from a basic salary to eventually get, my private office, level 14, Collins Street in Melbourne. I remember, all the people, about 50 people in my office, and I was the only one with a private office. And people coming in front of me and say, you made it. You got your private office. You're 28 years old in the city. And in the outside was beautiful. It was so amazing. It was so such a big achievement for me, because 7 years before, I didn't speak English. So for me, it was like, wow, I really made it. But it was so many things that I wasn't happy, having to ask for permission to a boss, having to tick the box with the time, having to be closed in this cubicle all day long with such a tiny little window. And coming from such a small town, as I said at the beginning, 17,000 people in my town, I was used to be outside in nature, fishing, running. And I said, what am I doing here? And that's when I started to think about options and alternatives. Renata was in Brazil at that time, and just the typical, found the video online, started to get interested about this thing of working online. And for about a few days, I couldn't sleep. I was like, I'm onto something here. I found something. And when she came back, I was like, you need to check this out. And she was like, no, I'm not interested. This doesn't look interesting. But then as I started to go deeper and deeper into these things, she started to be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. It's marketing. Okay, I understand.
In the beginning, Emma, we started, what Matteo saw was like to do like affiliate marketing. That's what got us started.
Yes. And then as we started to progress through these things, she started to also get, interested in wanting to learn more. And the first, I would say, 2 years, we went so full on in this thing. Literally. Wake up at 5 in the morning, bike ride 60 Ks in the city, work 9 to 5, ride 25 Ks back with the headwind, the rain, come home, have a shower, dinner, and then work until 3 in the morning in our cave, doing landing pages, funnels, email follow-up series, figuring out new ad scripts, shooting new ads, learning the process. And we were so focused on making money rather than solving problems, that the more struggles and more pain we were facing, the more I was like, this is hard, this is painful, this is frustrating, fuck this shit, I want to give up, I hate this. And for me, it was so frustrating, because in sport, I give 100, I get 100 back. It's just very, not straightforward, but it's very linear, the thing. In business, it's not like that. In business, you can be working 1 year, but if you're not using the right strategy, if you're not doing for the right cause, you don't see anything. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you see this exponential curve that just take off, and you start to see the results. And so I remember the first 15 months in business, we shooted 350 YouTube ads. There probably was 1,500 videos to do these ads.
Just to think about
enormous amount of money we spent.
It's painful.
All our disposable income from our corporate job dumped into ads, didn't pay off. They were just like burning money. It was the most painful, excruciating experience ever. And we got to a point where we were like, this is like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Like,
why? Well, what? Like, we got to the point of not even believing into that company anymore, because we didn't see the results for us, leaving alone the people that were coming under us. And we stopped believing in the product. And when you don't believe in the product, you can't sell it.
No.
And so we got to the point that we said, how many other people are there, into coaching or whatever, they're experts and they're struggling. They wanted to give up. They don't have anybody believing in them. Their family doesn't believe. Their friends, they don't believe, because they should be in corporate. They should be chasing their career. They should be chasing the six-figure salary. And so we wanted to do something that was us, that was our energy, our level of delivery, that we know that when we deliver, we really go for it. And we wanted something that was transformational. There was like everything in one place, not just a course about marketing, but something that is complete, that someone comes in and can really get the tools, the strategies, but also the accountability. They can talk directly to us. They don't talk to a coach. They don't talk to a sales guy. They're talking to us. And that's when we started to work on our craft and start slowly put this program together.
And then, Emma, what started to happen was we started to serve people to see the results on them. And then this is when I'd say it's the flick, but was after 2 years of a very painful process and journey of spending a lot of money in ads, focusing purely on the return of investment, and being grinding, but in this grind, this painful grind, that to say, no, it's not possible that this is true, And then when we started to generally help people on the other side and say, hey, we can help you. Okay, let's start to work together and see how it goes and see the transformation, the impact. Okay, now we have something, right? Now there is something here in our hands that we can scale that, so we can, impact more people by using the skills that we learned in these 2 years. But I would say to you that until something hits you and gives you this realization that there is more, you're gonna be always in the treadmill,
Well, because you basically, what I'm hearing is, and I love that you found your own structure, because you basically were trading one system of just the normal work and then trying to move into another system which seemed like, well, this is unique, and because I've worked in direct sales, so I like, and there's all this freedom that's thrown out around it, but yeah, you still got to follow the rules. I'm not very good at following rules. I'm just going to be straight out, and they're very loose guides to me a lot of the time. Sometimes road rules can be, depending on what I need at the time. So, but I love, you guys kind of both needed to do that together, didn't you? By the sounds of it, you needed to be in that system to go, fuck this shit. And you found your own structure through that. I feel like the other thing that would have come out of it for you guys was that because when you're in that kind of affiliate marketing, direct sales, all that kind of stuff, you're still in competition with other people. Sure. And the reality is, when you can step outside of that and just be competitive with yourself, because let's face it, there's no other Matteo and Renata in the world, I'm pretty sure, doing what you do. So you have to treat it that way as well. So it feels like when you had that switch, you stepped out of being competitive with everybody else, I think I'll just compete with myself and get better, and found your own natural structure. I mean, we all have to use tools. God, I've been in personal development and growth 25 years now. So I couldn't even tell you how many courses I've done, how many people I've seen speak. It's been a lot. So, some of my work is merged that way. And when you said the 7 layers deep, like I've done that with another coach, but I love the way you described it is different to the way that I would have done it as well. So you've made that your own, which I love. And so then the program was sparked. So that was the business. And obviously, but there's you in there, because when I had a look at what you do, it's different to what I've seen. So how did you inject yourselves into it?
So there is a couple of things. So the first of all was when we decided to do something for other people, we said, okay, what we didn't have, that if we created something that has that, would change everything. Right? So one of the things that we noticed, even on our learning curve, our learning process, was the fact that we needed to constantly be getting different courses or different instructions from different people in different places. So we said, what if we put everything in one place? So we serve people with what we know about the tactics of the business, but also the mindset part of it. By the way, the name Mindbug in the beginning was, we chose that name because we wanted to be in the case was a positive bug, right? To change, be a mind bug, like something to change your kind of thoughts.
The firefly.
The firefly was our, the metaphor of our bug, which is the firefly. It's a very ordinary insect during the day, but during the night is like stars. And this is for us, how human beings become. What we grew up and our light is shut down. We need to follow everybody else is doing. We need to go to do the job and to do the house and the car thing and the family thing and the whole things that everybody else does. And we shut down our lights, which is our biggest asset, right? So how can we put this light back into people, right? How can we spark this back to them? So the way that we put our insights into that was we, on top of giving people the tactics, also how can you effectively make your program, your expertise into putting some, organize it and put it in an online program, have a system, deliver that, sell that. It's the mindset component as well, right? So, which we believe is the most important thing, because what stops you from doing something is not the tactics, it's not the landing page. Okay, the problem is not that. The problem is you, us, the person, right? Is whatever you believe you have there in your head going over and over and over, and that needs to change.
That insecurity, you know.
The insecurity.
I told you were gonna fail. I told you were gonna, lose all your money. I told you want to be judged. There's a quote that I love that says, the only thing that can stop you to achieve your goals is just sitting between your ears. Just keep your head down, keep doing the work, and you will be just fine.
Yeah, it's the perceptions that we have from other people, from us, which are just assumptions. Nobody told us anything. Actually, nobody cares. Is what we were talking before the call. Everybody's giving a big shit of what you're doing. They're just focusing themselves, right? So, but we are constantly worried. And the neighbor, and the guy here in front of me, and my mother, and my dad, and my brother, and my brother-in-law. Like, all these things ultimately is what stop us from achieving like these massive big things, right? So we made sure that whoever is working with us is gonna be positively impacted by our energy, by our willingness, not just to make people move forward, but also to take the maximum, what is inside you, and saying, Emma, that's all right. Let's do this together. You're not alone. I think there is a lot of programs out there, and I'm not going to talk about anybody else, but it's like that means the component of we are together doing this, right? Because then you just sell a program, you pay me the money, bye, see, how are you? It's not like that, right? It's actually following the steps of the person.
And I think, going back to the mindset thing, Emma, what we believe is the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. And there's so many people. Renata is into a network now where there are all CEOs, chairmen, CFOs, and some more successful people in Melbourne, yet they are miserable inside very often.
They have the same problems.
And
I work with them.
And because, yeah, exactly. So
one of us.
So the first thing that we say is turn off the news. Because if you're there worrying about Russia and Ukraine, and all of the stuff happening in the world, you're just absorbing this negativity. So get away from the news,
which you can control.
And number two, start to get control of your emotions. Start with the morning, and the morning starts from the evening before. Have a routine, have a process in place so that it puts you in a peak state. And if you can master your emotions, you can overcome the hard times when things are not going the right way, when you feel like you want to give up. At the beginning, the first 2 years, we were like, in pain, in frustration. There is this this atmosphere of, how do you call it, like panicking.
No,
Yeah.
certainty,
Now when something happens, it's like, okay, cool, this happened. Then
look, it's easier said than done, that's for sure. I think that everybody has to, once you create the awareness and the consciousness of the skill, then you need to find how it best applies. How can you apply that the best to you and to your routine and to your day, right? So there are people that are huge in morning routines. There are people that don't like to do it. It's fine, as far as you find something that really helps you to get out a little bit of your head. Like you create. I used to say, like, if you pass that thought into something that you can see, okay, here is my problem, okay, so let's solve this problem, right? And you go and look for help, and usually sharing with somebody, because if you keep it to yourself, you're just going to make it worse, because that's what our brain does, is just look into the worst case scenario. And then you have to go and share with somebody. And this is where in what we do, we are there to help people. And we always say to them, if the shit hit the fan, this wrong thing hits your head, please, let's connect. So we have a community, we have like a chat, we have a lot of points of contact where people can reach out and share, because ultimately that's what's going to help them to move forward.
Yeah, I love that, because you're really speaking. I mean, that speaks to me hugely, because obviously I start work with anyone is creating an emotional code foundation so that they understand their emotions. Because let's face it, they actually lead us to our best possible choices when we're listening. But you're really talking about having emotional health, which, a lot of people don't really talk about. And it's so important because, yes, mental health is important, but the reality is that's our emotional health tied right in there. And, the other thing that you really spoke to is we're porous, right? So we suck in everything. And that includes what we put on our bodies, what we, on our hair, what we drink, what we eat, what we take in as information, and we soak it all in. So if you're not being aware of what you're sucking in around you, you can't possibly get really any control about what's going on in your brain, because if the body's polluted, and whether that's the mind polluted as well. Yeah, I love that. I love that you do that with clients. That's really beautiful that you've got that focus as well, and just getting them to understand the importance of it. So perhaps they'll keep taking that journey even after working with you, I think is really, just sparking that inspiration in them. Yeah, that's really.
And also, if I can just jump in.
Yeah, please.
So you're working as a coach, you're going to be online, because if you don't put yourself out there online, you don't have a business. Let's be honest. How many people get frustrated, angry, deflated when they read the comment? People trolling you, people judging you, people criticizing you. So many times at the beginning, we're really feeling like this sense of I'm not good enough.
This is personal. This is me.
And that's part again of that working on the mindset, like facing and say, I don't give a fuck about the comment. I don't care. I'm putting out there, and just let it go. Relax. Stop worrying about it. But it's in mindset. It comes down also when you're doing sales, because if you don't have emotional intelligence, you can't bond with someone. You can't connect in that very deep level. And I always say people buy from you when, number one, they believe that they can trust you. Number two, they see that you can help them. Number three, they see that you care about them. And this only comes when you have the level of deep emotional intelligence. You're fully 100% present on the person in front of you. Because if you're distracted, you're looking at the script, you're writing things down, they don't create that level of connections with you. And all of that comes to what mindset it's the same thing. It's still mindset at the end of the day. So, you can have a week of 70% strike rate on your sales and a week of 0 sales. And if you don't work on your mindset, you're going to get stuck. You're going to really have a hard time.
Yeah, we spoke about this in a very separate conversation. Matteo, you talked about energy and attraction as well. And I'm there with you on that. If you're putting out there, this is a struggle, this is hard, clients aren't ready, whatever it is, that's what you attract. You attract hard work. If you're viewing it like hard work, then you're going to attract hard work and hard work clients as well. So Oh, I love it. I love that you do all of that. I want to ask you both, what does being of service mean to you?
Look, being of service for me means seeing that I was able to really transform somebody's life, like in a genuine way. Say, the person said to me, Renata, after I met you, now I wake up in the morning and I'm more positive. Or after we work together, I see things in a different perspective. I'm more open-minded to opportunities, I think that for me, this is being of service, is knowing that somehow I touched somebody with something that I believe that serves me really well, and that I know that can serve you really well as well. So by sharing this, I can make sure that this person, by feeling this way, they're going to pass this to the next one. And then this is the beautiful part of it. And I repeat this over and over in what we do, and always when I connect with somebody, is this positive impact. For me, this is important, because can I change the world? I can't change the whole planet Earth. I can't. I don't.
Wow, you don't know that.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't limit yourself. I mean, honestly, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know who's going to work with and what they're going to do. There's a ripple effect. I'm telling you, you don't know.
But the first step, Emma, is changing your world.
100%.
Changing the one next to you. So if I can touch and serve Matteo first, then he's going to be able to change somebody he's speaking to you first, and then that's when it starts, right? So this is what being service.
And for me, it's like, you learn to solve a problem. You've done it. You've been walking the talk. Okay, so you've been there. You have the authority. And when you see someone going through the same struggle and the same pain, and it's there, you can give them a hand and say, "Hey, come, I can help you." And that's when you put the priority on solving the problem rather than putting the priority on making your cash and buying the car and the house. And I think that, going back to what we spoke about before, this will bring you the fulfillment, right? Because you see the outcome, you see the result,
and the money and things just follows, because then people want to work with you. Then more and more people want to work with, and this is when we actually understood how this money follow things work. Is because of course, more and more people want to be connected. You want to be around people that makes you feel good. You want to be around people that makes you progress. You want to be around people that helps you to achieve results. You want to be around people that help you to achieve your dreams. So, and then this is when the exchange happens and things just becomes better and better. And this is what we try to pass to people as what they can do to themselves and create the same environment for them.
And it's funny, because what is beautiful about the community, when you create a community, is that all the members, they become of service with each other. Because even the one ahead of the one that is just starting out is of service, because they can provide their own experience. But the one that is just starting out can come with a fresh pair of eyes and say, well, here is my view, so they can still provide a level of interaction and perspective. And that, I think, is also being of service, generally wanting to help each other and raise the level. If we're all my definition of success is making progress, is growing, is making progress, is growing and giving, so that one day you can look back and say, wow, what a journey, that was amazing. Okay. And so the beauty of seeing people in our community that are, sometimes we're not even doing the talking, they are talking. They're just helping each other, and they're being of service to each other because they want to be there, they want to make progress, and that to me is success. Just that.
I love that, because energetic exchange is absolutely, really, if we've not learned anything over the past couple of years, is one, we're better in community. And, our current cities that we live in aren't necessarily community. So we have to really go back to that human need as a basic and have community and connection. But energy exchange, and money is just energy. So, if you're focused on the exchange of service and being of service, then the exchange of that just is a natural progression, because obviously the universe wants to congratulate you and go, thanks for being of service, thanks for being in exchange, here you go, your reward. And absolutely offering a real solution, not like, if you work with me for 12 weeks, you will be magnificent and fully changed and, all that kind of stuff. Even for me, working with clients in 6 months, absolutely at the start, I'd never, ever would, I'd be completely honest in saying you're still going to be on another journey, but the skills and everything that you would have grown into, exponential growth. However, keep it going. You'll find someone else to work with and collaborate, and you have to keep going to grow and to transform in your life. So then, can you tell me what have been some of your favorite moments with clients? Like, is there any particular ones that stand out with you, either you really enjoyed or whatever it was?
Yeah, I have one example here. It comes very quickly in my head, actually. It's a student of ours, Debbie. She, I don't know her age, but she 65. Is in the 65 range, I think 60 plus for sure. And my mom is in this age group, and my mom, she couldn't even touch the enter thing here. She's so scared about computers, right? And what I think is amazing about Debbie is that she's fearless about learning, even, being on the 60 plus age range. She's not scared. She wants to put her word out there. And I think that Debbie was for a period of time very stuck in what she wanted to do. And then one day I was seeing that she was going to this spiral, right? So one day I connected directly with her. I said, Debbie, let's jump into a call. Do you have a time in an hour? She said, yes. She said, okay, jump into a call. Debbie, look, we're going to do this. You're going to do a live workshop for whoever follows you. If it's your brother or your sister or your friend, doesn't matter. We just need to do it for you to see things working for you, because you are so good in what you do. You're just like in this spiral, of needs to be perfect, and needs to be perfect doesn't take you anywhere. So cutting the story short, within 4 days, I made Debbie go from, we made, because if Debbie didn't do the work, nothing was going to happen.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was happening as well, and at the time she was in a hardship of money. So she was like struggling with money, and things, and she was complaining about it. Let's stop this. I said to her, stop complaining about it, for God's sake, let's make something. Because if you don't make something, that's the purpose why you're doing this with us in first place. This is not charity. We have to make money of this. So in 4 days, we created like a small workshop. I said to her, literally get your phone and start calling the people on your phone book and bring them in like leads, right? Because we need people in. So she created this workshop. She was charging $100. It was like 4 days. For each day, 4 to 5 people showed up. So literally in 4 days, she was able to make $2,000. And she sent me a message, Renata, I was able to pay my rent and my gas bill. And I said to her, you see how it is possible. It's nothing for extraordinary human beings. All you needed was to put together your knowledge, which is the reason why you're here in first place, and take action and move bloody forward. Because if you stay here into the perfection of the landing page, you're never going to go anywhere. Because I need to have the guy that publishes. And I said, forget about this stuff. You just need a phone with some numbers on your phone book, okay? And something that's really meaningful for the speaker that's going to solve a problem to them. And then she started to do this over and over. And after that, actually, she had an opportunity to work for a company. This is the beautiful thing, is that you do one thing, right? You throw your energy towards one thing that solves her problem in that specific moment. But one of the people that joined her workshop invited her to do the same thing for their company as a consultant. Okay. And then she now is working full-time for these people, and she's launching her book. Like, things started to roll from that, going from that spiral of perfection to have something, to be in a hardship saying, oh my God, I'm going to pay the bills. I don't know if I can pay the next installment of the program. I said, Debbie, let's stop this. This is just insane. But Emma, this just happened because of one specific thing that I say to people. You can have all the money in the world. You can be the most smart person in the planet. You can have the brilliant idea. But if you don't execute, nothing is going to happen. If you don't want to bloody do something to change that situation, God's not come with the magical hand and say, today you were the chosen one. It's not going to happen.
No.
No one's gonna do it for you. So you have to bloody sit your bum in the chair and focus on the thing and do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's it was a pleasure to work with her in this because of the action taking, the belief, and just my purpose on making her take action so quick was for her to have the confirmation that she can do it.
Yeah.
And now she does it on herself.
Yeah, I have one of my favorite quotes said, if all it took was knowledge, we would all be billionaires with 6-pack abs. It's so true. And it's deeply, deeply true, because at the end of the day is so many people that get stuck in this idea that has to be perfect. Oh, the course, the lighting, the camera. I can't tell you how
Totally me. At one point, not anymore.
How many mistakes and spelling mistakes we do in our course, and our students love it because it's real, because it's fun, because it's...
And because when they see that and they know how good it is for them, they see, okay, I can do it.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't need to be like a Netflix thing. Not saying there has to be bad quality, for God's sake. No, it has to be, the minimum requirements has to be there. But what I'm saying is, if you are waiting for that perfect thing of the perfect, you're going to be perfect. You know, there is this other quote that says, perfect inaction, imperfect action. No, perfect inaction, it's worse than imperfect action. Like you have to act imperfectly.
Well, you have to fail. You have to.
You have to fail.
You have to. You cannot learn unless you fail. I love it when my clients come back and we've talked about doing something and then they go, it was fucked. And I'm like, excellent. What won't you do again? And what will you do? And they're like, woo, I'll do that. Like, great. You've failed. I often say that to my kids when they're trying something new. Enjoy the failure. Enjoy messing it all up and getting it all wrong, because that's actually part of the fun. And you guys talked about that, you know, being in that early part of the relationship and then working together and, you know, jamming it all together. Like, there was a lot of failure in there, I'm sure, but wow, like the energetic connection that you have now, not only personally but in business, it's felt. And, you know, I've not met you in person. This has all been online and I can easily feel that. So I love it. Matteo, did you have a client that you wanted to share?
I think for me, it's really when they take actions, when they're really like, they are hungry and driven to move forward. We have a student, she started in June, by July, started in May, and by June, she was already made 3,000 US in a launch with face yoga. See how you can go so niche. And she moved from Montenegro to Bali. So now she lives in Bali. And just seeing the progress because in imperfect actions, because really wanting to make it happen. I am the first one that I am not obsessed with perfectionism. I just put it out there. I don't care. It's just that constant, you know,
it's action, a consistency,
you know, and there is something that, you know, is a metaphor that took me about 2.5 years here in Melbourne, behind Frankston. There is a climb that all the cyclists do. It's called Two Bays. And it took me 2.5 years to achieve the best time. I was there every single week, twice a week. I was going there, trying. But the only thing that didn't stop me was the fact that I was passionate about that. The fact that I love to go there and learning every single corner, every single part of the climb. I was obsessed. I knew everything about the climb. Took me 2.5 years, but I never thought about giving up because I was passionate about that. And it's the same with the business. If you have the passion, if you are fulfilled by what you're doing, you're never going to think about giving up because you want to go back, try again. And rather than thinking how long it's going to take, you're going to think, how far can I go?
Yeah. What's the next bit? I love it. So guys, I want to ask, and then we're going to get to the final 3 whats. I do have final 3 questions. What in the past 6 months, what's amazed you? Because that's something that's talked about on your website and I love that. So I thought, well, I'm going to throw that back to you. What has amazed you about your own life in the past 6 months?
What amazed me, I think, is that I can love myself more.
So
yeah. And how deeply you can. Yeah, I love it.
You can. So I think that we are very rough to ourselves.
Whew. Yeah.
We are, sometimes I look to myself in the mirror and say, you are a bitch, man. What you do to yourself, the things that you think to yourself that I just keep to myself, you know, that I don't share with anybody, that keeps here in my thoughts going over and over and over. I think that in the last 6 months, I allowed myself to be a better version of myself. I allowed myself to commit the mistakes. I allowed myself to people don't be happy about the things that I do, to people be extremely happy about the things that I do. You know, like you just allow yourself to love yourself, to be honest. I think that all that happens with us here, all the problems in the world is because we don't love ourselves enough.
100%.
You know?
So true.
And this is something that it's gonna reflect in your business, in your relationship, in anything you do, really. And I could come here with the most amazing, you know, thing. Oh, because my business made X, Y, Z. It doesn't matter if I don't love myself.
Because it shines, it shows.
At the end of the day, I can have all these things and be miserable. And this is where I think on the last few months, on the last 6 months, I've been really focusing on is in really understanding more about Renata. Like, what does Renata want? Where she wants to go? Where I have to learn more? What do I love to do it that I want to repeat every day? How I want to show up to my clients? How I want to show up to this interview? How you know? And I think it's more about exploring our own selves.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. I was trying to translate the term vanitoso in English. Vanitoso is when someone vanity.
Ego.
Loves himself. And when you think about in Italy, coming from my culture, when you think about loving yourself, you think about vanity. But in this case, what we're talking about is really being kind to yourself. It's being allowing yourself to make mistakes. And for the last, I had a session with a coach in December where I really had that breakthrough. And what I realized was that if I could love myself, I could show up as a different person and stop worrying about others and show up free. But also be free to allow myself the time to achieve my goals. Because I think this is one of the biggest problems that I had was putting a goal every time, you know, coming from, you know, the culture of you need to set a goal that has to be scary. If it's not scary, it's not good enough, right? And then every time you see that you don't achieve the goal, it becomes like a failure. So instead, just allowing yourself time and say, you know what, I'm just going to manifest that. I'm going to take an enormous amount of action towards that goal. And if it doesn't happen within the time frame, who gives a fuck? That's okay. I'm still here. It's
like having
fine.
But whose time frame though? Do you know what I mean? Like I'm often talking about that when people talk about a timeline, like with any facet of well-being, like whether it's to improve your diet or to you know, lose weight, or to, you know, in the soul work that I do, to, you know, feel better about yourself. How is there a timeline on that? You know, on some of these goals, you can't actually put a timeline on it. If you're going on, I say this to people, if you want to buy a house and, you know, you've got the money and you give yourself it, you go, okay, right, you're good to go. Then you might want to set like a 60-day goal and go, let's find a house in 60 days if we can, you know? Same as going on a holiday. Well, I want to go on a holiday in September. So clearly there's a specific timeline in there. But what you're talking about, and love, I mean, you know, love is about how you respond. And it's your choice in how you respond, and how do you respond to yourself and the world around you. And, you know, if we're coming back to love, it's a very different response that we have. But I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you for being really vulnerable in that and sharing it. Because you know what, like people, when they talk about self-love, honestly talk about, oh, I've got to drink X amount of water. It's a good thing. I highly recommend 2 liters a day. I always like to pop that one in there. But people talk about getting massages and nails done and all that's beautiful stuff, but that's still external love. And it's not internal. It's not when you look in the mirror and give yourself a wink. I'm very talented at doing that now. I often walk past and just love you, mate. Like give myself a wink.
And on that,
that's
like,
a good one.
You need to be very intentional. Because the words that you use are going to be the outcome that you're going to get. So if you wake up in the morning and you focus first thing in the morning, say, having a manifesting love for yourself, you know, being, you know, kind to yourself, gratitude for just being here. Look at where we are, right? You know, we're so lucky not to be bloody in Ukraine right now, like being in a place that is safe, that is also like we can live a good lifestyle, and just allowing yourself to be just give yourself time. Don't be so hard on yourself if you're not.
All the worries in the world, Emma, are in the past or in the future. They're not here, right? And we forget that. We are constantly thinking about, oh, what's going to happen, or what happened that I can't change anymore, that I should be able to change, and I can't because it's happened, right? And I think it's and this self-love thing goes a lot into enjoying and being present, which is hard.
Mindfulness.
It's hard. All of these things, they are very simple, but they're not easy.
No,
they are
very simple
very
process.
simple to sit down and be 5 minutes doing a meditation. It's simple. It's not easy, right? It's simple to say, go and journal or go and do this and that. It's simple things. You just need a notebook and a pen, to be honest. Super simple activity. But it's not easy to give the consistency to go there. What I'm gonna, so yeah, all these things demand work, education, and again, it's you wanting to love a little bit more about yourself and say, you know what, I'm gonna dedicate some time to work these things out.
And very often, it all comes down to the environment that you put yourself in and the people that you surround yourself with. It's so important. These two elements are so key. And for me, in the last 6 months, another thing that was really, really important was really to appreciate the small things. We live here in Melbourne, close to the bay, near Black Rock. Never go to watch the sunset. We started to go and just go to the beach.
I'm not judging. I'm just shocked.
It's just shocked. I know.
To the beach and just enjoy, have a sushi and have dinner, watch it in sunset. We're never doing it before, like it's just take it for granted. Just enjoy small things as being really, really, really good and healing.
I walk my dog around sunrise most mornings, and it's one of the greatest gifts that I give myself when I can get to it. So I always try and look for a point where I can see the greatest sunrise, but I think my phone is filled with photos of sunrise.
That's awesome.
It's constant. I think that's really beautiful and such a great message. And I really feel the whole person approach that you have to working with them around their business and creating something that is scalable, obviously, and does have results, but also that, they can feel good with what they're doing, like they can emotionally feel good about it as well, and that they're aligned with their hearts and their mind. So the mind's creating the system, which is great, it's good for that, but connecting to their heart and why, so incredibly important. Are you guys ready for the final 3 whats?
Oh,
yes.
Whilst my cat is distracting me, what did I say? I don't know what she's scratching. She's probably damaging something, but we won't talk about that. Okay, final 3 whats. What is well-being to you?
You go first.
Well-being. What is well-being to me? Well-being, in my opinion, is a great balance between mind and body. We are obsessed about health. We both love exercising, and I think exercising is not just good for your body, it's good for your mind. And they say, you're gonna have this body for 100 years, so you're gonna take care of it. And so for me, everything that is connected to actually being in a good state, because you're gonna give you the energy to work on your business, the way they show up with people. It all comes down to what do you eat, what do you do in the morning. You're gonna stay on your phone or exercise, get out there, get some fresh air, and that comes down to your mindset, because you're gonna be in a better state, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna show up better, and you're gonna be more kind to yourself. So for me, well-being is all combined between working on your health and working on the health of your mind.
Yeah, on your emotions. I agree.
Yeah. Excellent. What are your must-do daily well-being practices? And you've already mentioned a couple, but what else outside of that's for soul well-being?
Yeah, so for me, one of the things is definitely to connect with my friends and my family. So we have a WhatsApp chat, and every day at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, depending when they send me voice messages, I get back to them. For me, this is very important. And actually, when I share with them through voice messages what's happening to me, it's like if I'm talking to myself. So it's funny, sometimes I actually go back to the messages that I sent and I listen again to me. I can hear me say, that's crazy.
That's really good, yeah.
It's actually really good exercise. So it's also connecting with the people that are far from me here, and to keep that connection. Definitely that is one thing. And the other one is eating chocolate.
Really
good dark chocolate. Yeah.
This makes me happy.
Yeah.
You got to do it feels good. What about you, Matteo?
For me, is I can't stay without my morning practices. Waking up, having my glass of water. Exercising is key. If I don't exercise, I go mad. I just got too much energy. It's super important to come back, meditate, do my meditation, talking to people, connecting with people, jumping on a call. It makes a huge difference for me because you get out of your head. It's great to be in the zone and working on a project, but when you get out of your head, you're speaking with someone, you get a different energy. For me, walking, we always go out for walks. At lunchtime, we say, come on, let's go do our half an hour walk. It's so good. Walking, speaking, getting fresh air, just moving the body is great. Obviously, as you can understand, I'm obsessed about sport. So I have my session in the morning and a session in the evening just to sweat a little bit, move the body, get the blood pressure moving, makes me feel good. I go to dinner and I feel relaxed and a lot more chilled. Sleeping is super powerful. I started to really evaluate sleep. And if I don't have 8 hours every day, I need to catch up. This is becoming a super priority for me. Has to be there. You had to get your sleep. I used to just don't take enough care about that. I was sometimes sleep 5 hours, 6 hours. Now I need to stick to my 8 hours. And really is that's about it pretty much, just
that's good.
Just
oh my God, that's amazing. I love it. You're like, oh, I read it. That's awesome.
That's good.
I love you second guessing yourself. No, that is awesome. But then, so all of that, because I mean, obviously, well-being for me is just it oozes out of my business as well. So it's all through all areas of my life. What impact does having good well-being have on your life?
I think go back into the positive emotions, which is the way you're gonna be reacting to things during your day. If you skip that walk that you do with your dog and see the sunrise, it's just gonna be a different day. Like you start to get trapped in the thoughts and the worries and the future happenings, and you get into the spiral, and it becomes really hard to get out of that place. The only way to get out of that place is actually doing these well-being activities, right? Which is go for walk, go for meditation, journaling, whatever it is for you, exercising, so ultimately is what happened, I think, is just the reverse of if you don't do that in first place,
Yeah.
So you just it's like if your emotions are already kind of polluted from the get-go, and then you get into these spirals of thoughts and negative emotions and thoughts and things, and to get out of that ultimately is by doing well-being things, which, by the way, if we were close to nature, like literally to open our door and be in a forest where you can walk, I think there is nothing more healing, right, than being in a space or just like going to the beach, right, walk on the sand and see nature. I think that ultimately we are all like avatars, we need to be in that space. It's part of human nature. We are animals. We are part of one thing, and I think that this is actually what one of the most healing things is, to be in nature, right, surrounded with the green and the ocean and the sand and the birds and the things. So yeah, I think that if you don't do that, what happens is you go back into the survival mode, which is very annoying. And I think that when you get into that spiral, in that place, if you don't share and you don't have somebody to reach out and get help, is by doing these activities that can help you to get out of that and resetting a little bit.
I love it. What impact is having well-being on your life?
It's showing up the way you show up. Every single time I'm not following these steps, I see that I get caught into getting angry, getting frustrated, reacting. And really, that's how you ultimately reflect your internal state into other people.
You become reactive. That's what happens.
Oh yeah.
You just push, right? You don't.
That's when you see people getting angry on the street. And I remember just a quick story. Last week, we had calls just behind our place here, and they had the beautiful croissant from Noisette,
whatever,
really like from the bakery, and we love to get them. And that particular day, it was early in the morning, and I got my croissant, I got a couple other things, went to pay, and for some reasons that day the tap wasn't working, right? So nobody could pay because everybody was with the phone or with the watch. And so there were two people in front of me, and a lady, I think she went to buy some granola or something. And the guy said, I'm so sorry, the tap is not working, only cash. And she didn't have cash. I didn't have cash either. And so she literally dropped the granola on the thing. She walked out the course screaming. And that to me is when you react to things. And instead it's like,
like you can't control, like the thing doesn't work, what are you gonna do? It's not the fault of the guy.
Yeah.
Like
no, absolutely.
He's in the best intention to sell you.
And again, it's like, yeah, of course. And also for me it was like, oh, I really want my croissant, but you know what? That's all right.
Not meant to be today. I love it.
So really is the way that you show up. You show up with your clients, show up with your friends, with your family, and really, if you want to make an impact, like we do, you want to have a big vision, want to help people, empower people, you need to put yourself in the big state, not just to the way you show up with the people. In order to reach the goal, you need to be in that peak state. Otherwise, you get lazy. You don't do the things that is gonna help you to go closer to that. So it's key. It's definitely key.
I love it. Oh, look, I'm going to say, I want, you guys need to come back on here again. We'll revisit all this because we've got like a multitude of more things to discuss and to talk about. So, and it's been really beautiful sharing time with you. Thank you so much for being so generous in what you do and who you are, and being so authentic and real. And that's, I really appreciate that. And I know that your clients are getting amazing benefit, and I can see why people would be drawn to working with you. So absolutely, if you're wanting to connect, all the details are going to be below as well, so that you can click on those. There'll be another slide after, so it's going to have your details on there and how to connect. But thank you so much for sharing your beautiful time and energy with me today. It's been a phenomenal connected conversation. I know people listening are going to get a huge amount out of it, and absolutely highly recommend connecting with you because this has been really cool. Thank you, lovelies, for being here.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, and it's been really good fun.
You're welcome. We'll see you guys next time. Bye for now. Connect with Renata and Matteo at www.themindbug.com. To connect with me, head to emmamuir.com. Enjoy your day, and thanks for sharing your time.